Welcome to the next episode of the Supply Chainiacs. I am your host, Glenn Koepke, along with my co-host, Chris Kobus. Hope everyone's doing well. And the topic that we're going to tackle today is around capacity. Capacity can mean a couple different things within transportation and supply chain, but our angle is really around driver capacity and then warehouse capacity as well. So Chris, welcome today. Would love to get your take on where you see shippers and 3PLs and carriers focused on capacity, and what are those impacts that are facing the industry today?
Yeah, thanks, Glenn. Good to chat with you again today here. I'll start with the latter first in terms of warehouse capacity. I think part of the challenge in the industry that we're seeing today is your supply chains are constantly trying to manage supply and demand variability, as we've talked about in our previous sessions. So because of that, lead times are mismanaged, carriers are arriving too early, too late, and you experience capacity challenges across the distribution point. So I think from a warehouse point of view, that what that means and the impact is inflated levels of inventory, right? Spoilage and inventory write-offs, things like that, that are causing further pressure on the balance sheet for a lot of shippers, right? And the ability to manage that today, as we've talked about, without a visibility platform is just very manual. It's constantly troubleshooting back with carriers and 3PLs to try to figure out, what the root cause is, how do we plan better going forward? I think on the other side, as I think about it from a carrier's point of view, part of the big challenge today is outside of just managing the, one of the ongoing themes of just the overall driver shortage, right, and labor shortage within America here, is managing, the demand from shippers alike, right? So right now, carriers are trying to work as strategically as possible with their shipping partners to figure out, how many loads do we anticipate making pickups for in the next quarter, right? In the following quarter from that, what is our overall volume utilization by lane? And things are just changing constantly over time with shippers trying to manage that variability point. And because of that, you encounter just overall capacity shortages from carriers. They don't have the assets, right? They don't have the drivers. They may not have the technology to try to manage these different areas of variability. So just some thoughts from my side. But Glenn, I'd love to hear, from you, your perspective on how real-time visibility platforms have helped kind of manage these issues and different challenges.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's changed and evolved, right? When you look at this marketplace that was really born 5 or 6 years ago as a standalone category, the level and focus on collaboration and capacity has really started to shift. And so, I think from a transportation capacity standpoint, one of the areas that we've seen over the last 12 to 18 months is shippers saying, where do I have leakage in my network, whether it's a private fleet or a common carrier where it's only a one-way move, but I have an opportunity to backhaul them. So we've worked with one of the leading dairy companies as an example, and they were able to take one of their lanes and partner with another wholesale distribution company to leverage their private fleet. And what that allowed is it allowed for the wholesaler to create revenue generating miles for their fleet. And then it allowed for this dairy company to reduce empty miles, so it improved their carbon footprint. And so, that's one angle of capacity in the transportation network that real-time solutions are impacting. Second would be around that warehouse capacity, where when you think of, if you're a warehouse operator, right? So let's say you've got a 300,000 square foot facility. On one side of the house, you've got your inbound doors, and on the other side of the house, you've got your outbound doors, right? So inbound raw material, outbound finished goods. And when you're thinking about transportation management and visibility, it's not just the freight that you pay for that you care about, it's everything, right? And so on average, I would say, when you look at the Fortune 2000 companies, they control anywhere from 50 to 70% of the freight in their network, but that leaves another 30 to 50% they don't control. But if I'm that warehouse operator, I want visibility to that inbound truck because it's Friday afternoon, I've got my kid's birthday, and I want to get home, right? And one of the inherent challenges we're seeing is that companies are now starting to look at that holistic view, where over the last few years, it was really centered around the freight that they're paying for. So one of the exciting trends in this market is, how do I get access to all of these different shipments in my platform for both inbound prepaid and then outbound customer pickup as well. And so Chris, those are some of the examples I've seen. I'd love to get your thoughts on a tactical level and from a customer level, how is this playing out on the front lines on the operations?
Yeah, thanks, Glenn. Appreciate the points. I think from my side, I think of one of our customers in the grocery retail space. And pre-FourKites, pre-making the investment in a visibility platform, one of the big challenges they had is not only did they not have visibility to where prepaid suppliers, so suppliers that were managing their own freight, they didn't have visibility or even knowledge of where those suppliers were shipping from, right? So within their TMS platform, they're grossly, overestimating where those origin points are and what those lead times are, resulting in a bunch of safety stock, right? And inventory that's sitting across the distribution network. Also applicable to the collect side. A lot of the suppliers where they were managing the freight were changing some of the origin points, causing some of the same problems. So the value and how they've operationalized visibility was they were using the new data insights within FourKites, right, and operationalizing visibility to better understand what those origin points are from a supplier perspective, whether it was inbound prepaid or collect. And as they're learning and staying up to date on what those origin points are, they're using that to update their TMS and to overall manage the execution of the delivery of those goods. And the value they've achieved from that is they've been able to reduce the level of safety stock and thus capacity spend within the distribution network, right? So if you think about, all the operational expense associated with cold storage, associated with perishable foods and products, all that's being avoided by not holding excess days of supply they otherwise would with those extended lead times. So just some anecdotes there from my side. But Glenn, this has been great. Always appreciate the conversation and appreciate everyone for joining. We look forward to talking to everybody next time here on the Supply Chainiacs. Thank you.
Thank you.